Welcome to the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast.
Hello everyone, this is Jarvis Scott with What's Happening Birmingham. It's 2024 everybody. You know I always like to do segments at the beginning of the year about getting your affairs in order, or just getting your life right, whether it's a New Year's resolution. So if you saw my previous interview that I did about planning your funeral, today I want to bring on attorney Joi Travis to talk about putting together your will. So, Attorney Travis, thank you for coming on today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
So,
you.
before we start, just a quick bio about yourself to the audience.
Okay, great. So, I am Attorney Joi Travis. I am the owner of Travis Law, LLC. Travis Law is located on the south side. We handle matters involving probate, criminal, and family law. And we service the counties of Jefferson, Shelby, and Montgomery. So this is a pretty busy time for us because usually at the beginning of the year, most people want to get their wills and get things in order. So this is a perfect time to have this conversation because it's time for everyone to make sure they have their things in order.
Okay, so before we start, what is the legal definition of a will?
So I can't pronounce the legal definition, but basically a will is just something that's a document that's used to let someone know, the court, your family, but basically puts on notice what to do with your estates after you have passed away.
Okay, so I'm going to reverse that, and let's just say I pass away, I don't have a will. What happens in the state of Alabama?
That's a very good question.
And specifically Jefferson County Probate Court.
That's a very good question. So if you die with a will, it's called dying testing. Okay. If you die without a will, it's called dying intestate. Okay. And so if you die with the will, of course, the will tells us who's supposed to get what. Well, if you die without a will, then basically the probate court will follow the laws of intestacy. Okay. And so that's basically our law that says who gets what and how they get it. So typically, for example, if you were married to someone, everything will go to your wife based off the law of intestacy. Or if you have children, and siblings. So every situation is different, but the laws of intestacy tell us what to do.
Let's just say, I always like to throw a hypothetical. Let's just say I got a wife that's been separated.
Okay, she's still your wife. So and now that is something that happens a lot. Okay. I see a lot of people have been separated for years. Okay. They don't change their wife. Okay. They don't change their beneficiary on their life insurance. But if you're married legally and you never divorce, then that person still can take. So it doesn't matter if you're separated, you haven't talked to them in 5 years, you don't live together. If they're legally your wife and there's not been a divorce, they will still be able to take from your estate. Okay,
so give me the best time frame to get a will done, which is an obvious question, be any time to get a will done. But as far as, I guess a lot of you all know that I'm actually a notary here in Alabama, so I have all versions of that about when you need to get the will done. But just kind of back up, my last statement. When's the best time to go ahead and get those type of affairs?
There's no time like the present. Okay. There's no best time to do it. Some people say, well, I want to wait till I get everything in order, or I want to wait till I get a big settlement, or I wait till I get a job. Unfortunately, at times like these, tomorrow's not promised to anyone. Okay. So you should never wait. What example I like to use is, you might be a single person and say, I'm going to wait till I get married to have a will. But what if you end up dying from a really bad car accident and your estate inherits millions of dollars? Well, you should probably have a will so that it says what you want to do, because that will be your asset. And even if it's not in the will, your will will also name who your executor will be. Your will would say what to do with my assets. So it still gives more of an idea of what's expected to be done with assets that might not be listed in the will.
And one of the things you don't want to get a will done, and I guess I'm kind of jumping over one loop to another, is don't try to get done when you're in the hospital.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
If you get to the hospital and you want to get it done, that's not a terrible thing. But I encourage people to get a will done as soon as possible.
And I know something just came in my head too. Sound mind.
Yes.
That's so important, people.
Yes.
And a sound mind, get a will done.
So sound mind is a legal term that's used in the probate world, because one of the things that a notary is going to ask, or someone that's preparing your will, they're going to ask, are you of sound mind, to be able to know exactly what you're doing and what you're signing. So sound mind is very important. The problem is sometimes that people have their own perception of what sound mind is, right? And so, you know, you might have a mom that you think might not be a sound mind, but your mom might be a sound mind, never been diagnosed with mental illness. So that's where different perspectives can come into play, and people may challenge someone's sound mind and competency, basically.
And I like how you put that, because, say for instance, after the will is done, what is the statute of limitations? And I like, most of you all are probably watching me here in Alabama, in the state of Alabama, for somebody to contest a will.
So I can't necessarily say that there's a statute of limitations, right? Because you won't typically open up an estate until someone passes away. Different situations happen with different people. So once someone makes a will and they're alive and they have a will, but someone doesn't agree with it, there's no contest that can be done until the will has actually been probated. Okay. So once the will has been probated, then that's when people are able to file challenges if they like to do that. Okay. If the estate's been closed, then you can't file a challenge anymore. But once you probating a will, basically is giving notice to everyone in the will that this will has been probated. And so that is the point that someone would need to challenge the will once they receive notice.
And typically after someone passed away, and once you take it, like say for instance, I always like to use this analogy, Big Mama died. When they take it down to probate court, now I know times have changed since we've been through our little period. I can't mention word, I'm going to go down the algorithm, I say a word. But how long can that take? Up to 6 to 12 months? Just say there's nobody contesting it.
Great question. So after someone passes away, you have to wait so many days until you can actually open up the estate. Okay. Once you open up the estate, you have to have the original copies of the will. Okay. So if you don't have the original copies of the will, then that's going to probably prompt a hearing. Okay, so everything has to be original copy. So once you probate that will, you won't get that will back. Okay, so understand that. Most people don't understand that. So you need to make a copy of it before you actually open up the estate with it. Once you open up the estate and you get the letters of administration or testamentary, whatever you get, from that point on, the estate has to stay open for 6 months. Okay. Now the problem is that people hear that and think that, oh, well, they only got to stay open for 6 months, but you still have to handle the business of the estate within that 6 months, and there are things that need to be done in that 6 months. You might have to sell assets. You might have to distribute assets. You might have to go to the court for guidance on something. But the shortest amount of time that an estate has to be open is 6 months.
Okay, and one thing I hear about a lot in the, when you Google, when you pull this up is, can you tell us what's the difference between a will and setting up a trust?
Absolutely. Excuse me. So a will does not take effect until you pass away. Okay. That's a document that you're going to draft, and then it will not be used until you can actually open it up in probate. A trust is the actual document that can be created before you pass away. Okay. Once you create a will, you can also make a trust. Once you create a trust, you can also make changes to the trust before you pass away. Now you can make a new will as well, but the difference with that is that with a trust document, the trust document is actually where you're going to put some type of assets. Okay. So the will has assets too, but the trust is going to tell you more of what you're going to do with those assets at a greater rate. It's more like an instrument for you to be able to use so that assets are separated from your will, or separate for whatever the reason is. Most times I see people putting their home in a trust. Sometimes people put life insurance policies in a trust. But if you do something like that, you actually have to make the trust your beneficiary, and you have to create the actual trust itself. Okay. So there are some technical things with creating a trust, but it definitely can be done, and it does serve a different purpose than the will. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions about trust recently, and people say, I want to do a trust, I want to do a trust, but sometimes people don't have access to put in a trust. So that's one of the biggest things for a trust. You have to have assets that are attached to it to fund the trust.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's very important. Now, but before they come and they see you, what do they need to have? Like, we can call it almost like a cheat sheet or something.
Absolutely, that's a great question. I get that all the time. I ask people to always have a list of assets. Okay, when we're talking about assets, we're talking about if you were to pass away today, what exactly would someone have to be responsible for? Your car, your home, your life insurance, your bank accounts, things of value. So what I ask people to do is just make a list of those things and have some specification with that. So if you have a car, give me the make, model, VIN, and color of the vehicle. If you have a home, I need the address, the parcel number, and a copy of the deed. If you have life insurance policies, then we probably need the name of those policies and the policy number. If you have bank accounts, I will need the name of the accounts, if they're checking or savings, and the last 4 of those accounts. So those are the things that I would ask for if someone wants to come to me and make a will, and I ask that they have them written down or typed up. It makes it a little harder when someone comes in there trying to tell me things off of their head and things they're trying to remember, because we can't always remember everything.
And one thing too, when we mention that is, I'm going to tell the audience too, is put together like a cheat sheet of your logins for your phone unlock code, email logins.
So I call that a technology sheet. And everyone should have a technology sheet. The technology sheet should have all of your username and passwords. The other thing, if people are Apple users, you can actually name a legacy contact on your Apple phone. And so that person is able to get access to all of your information. You can do it through your settings, but that makes things a lot easier. Along the same lines, you also want to have a payable upon death.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that when I was in the banking industry.
All of your bank accounts. Every bank account that you have, you should be able to have a payable upon death. You should just be able to name someone, a friend or family member, that can go to the bank with their death certificate, and they should be able to access your funds without having to have a court order from probate court.
Oh yeah, because like we seen in my previous interview, you had to, they would have to call the insurance company to make sure the policy is good, take down the proceeds, and then at that time, whether we're gone, but one thing we both learned in life is just because a person leaves, the bills don't stop.
Right.
The bills keep coming.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that, because people think once they pass away, the bills go away, the debt goes away. It doesn't. If your grandma passes away and there's a mortgage on her house, somebody's got to be responsible for the mortgage, or they can foreclose on that home. So if you are in a situation where a loved one passes away, unfortunately, you are responsible for you have to keep paying the bills. If you don't, then, the lights can get cut off, the home can get foreclosed or foreclosed on. So things can happen if you don't take up a responsibility. That gets sticky because sometimes you have big family and everybody doesn't agree to what should be done, and so that's why I always encourage people to get a lawyer now. Get a lawyer now that you're familiar with, that knows about your affairs, because someone's going to have to help sort these things out. Also, identify someone that you love, your family or friend, that's responsible.
You'll be that person representative.
So they can make those decisions for you and know that you expect them to do that for you. So they're not taken off guard if something happens. Because before death, there might be something where you're incapacitated, right? And so that's when we encourage people to have a power of attorney. Because a power of attorney is good for before you die, so while you're alive. And I know you do a lot of notary with power of attorney, but that's an important document. In our office, we do wills and power of attorneys simultaneously. So if you come to my office and ask for a will, we're going to do a power of attorney for you, because it goes hand in hand, in my opinion.
And the healthcare directive.
And a healthcare directive. They're all included. Because if something happens and you can't make decisions for yourself, we want to know what you think should happen for you. Would you like a feeding tube? Would you like life-sustaining measures performed? Or do you want to do not resuscitate? So all those things are very important. And even if you're not at the point where you think you can have that conversation with an attorney or with someone about creating those documents, please have them with your family.
Okay, that's just somebody have it. Now, I know you're all watching and asking, how much does all this cost? We're going to tell you about something very exclusive and timeless recording that you want to take advantage of. But how much does this typically cost to get just average ballpark, go up and down?
It ranges, but what it ranges based off of your assets.
Okay.
Okay, so people always want me to tell them a certain amount. I can't do that, unfortunately, because if you come to me and you have 10 rental houses, 5 cars, and a lot of assets, that's going to make your will a little longer than someone that just has 1 house, 1 car, and they just want to give everything to their daughter.
And another thing, too, I know you think about this too. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I want to get it off of legals and tell people not to do that. I hate to shout them out, say a deal, but online.
There are a lot of online programs and I guess templates that help you to create different things like a power of attorney and a will. I encourage people not to use them, unfortunately, especially if you're not seeking the advice of a lawyer, because you really don't know what it is that someone's provided to you. And it's easy to spot those a mile away. And if something happens and you do have to use one of those things, and it might not be as comprehensive as you think it is. So I don't suggest them, but what I can suggest is I know of 2 will clinics that are coming up.
Yes, tell them about that.
So we have one, January the 18th will be a will and estate planning clinic. That's going to be at Faith Chapel at the Bridge. Again, that's January the 18th from 9 to 4. Both of these are put on by the Birmingham Volunteer Lawyers Program. So you can just Google Birmingham Volunteer Lawyers Program and get more information. The second one will be on February the 2nd, 2024. That one, of course, is with the Birmingham Volunteer Lawyers, but I think Commissioner Sheila Tyson is also helping to host.
Okay, shouts out.
Shout out to Sheila Tyson. Yeah. Thank you for making sure our community is prepared. So that one will be February 2nd, 2024 from 9 to 4. That one will be at the Booker T. Oliver American Legion Post 347. That address is 5021 Gary Avenue. It's in Fairfield, Alabama. So February 2nd and January 18th are 2 wills clinics that people can take hold of this opportunity and get these matters handled for free, get some advice on what to do, and just start the process.
Yes, but I'm telling you all, this stuff, you don't want, in Jefferson County, you need to go and get this will done, because you're going to go through, whew. Yeah, and also she probably, well, I don't know if you can say this or not, but the LegalZoom and another website, don't kill me because I keep on saying that word LegalZoom, is that those type of documents, depending on what judge you come to, will throw that out. So just be mindful. You remember nothing else I tell you from this. If you say, oh, well, I think I'm gonna find this online and boom. Yeah, and one thing you really hate is when you pass away and your loved one bring that document, and they can be like, well, I think the person did it off of LegalZoom, or my brother drew it up for me, and the brother's not an attorney,
That can hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things to remember when you do a will is going to be a document that has been notarized.
Yeah.
That's been witnessed by 2 other people that are not takers in the will. So that's really important too, right? And so we want to make sure that you're getting some legal advice, you're working with an attorney that has done wills before, that's worked with probate court, that's worked with notaries like yourself, that works in that probate space and understands some of the complexities, challenges, and concerns that may arise. But you're definitely going to have 2 people to witness it. You're going to have to be able to say that I am declaring any other will made before this is no longer valid. So if you have a will that you've made and you're not really happy with, and you make another one, that one is going to stand firm. So the other wills will not matter anymore. But you want to make sure that you're speaking with someone that understands what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And they have your best interest at heart. Because this is, I know a lot of times we talk about generational wealth and passing things down. So this is one of the ways to make sure we protect our generational wealth.
Oh yeah.
Protect our legacy.
Because if you don't decide it, you don't want the state of Alabama to decide what happens to your assets,
your hard-earned,
your house,
your hard-earned assets.
Yes, because I'm telling you. So what's that magic number if they want to contact you?
Thank you so much. So if you would like to get a will or a power of attorney or an advanced care directive performed by our office, please call Travis Law at 205-453-9331. Again, 205-453-9331. The address is 1027 23rd Street South. We're located on the south side. And you can send us an email at info@travislaw.com. travislawllc.com. So we love to have someone that knows what they're doing, doesn't know what they're doing, has questions. Just let us help you with this. And I can guarantee, if it's something I can't help you with, I will find someone to help you with this matter.
Yeah, and I'm telling everybody, we all start out at the beginning of the year. We want to lose weight. We want to get close to the God, which you need to do too. But just get the basic stuff. Like I mentioned in the previous interview, that we ain't in charge of our entry in this world. We ain't in charge of our exit, but we in charge of what we do in the dash. Absolutely. In the middle. So this takes. I don't know how long the clinic may take.
The clinics are all day, but our process to make a will is seamless. It's easy.
Yeah. So and then also people that's single people. Yeah. I'm telling you, it is a headache, a pure headache. If you don't, people's like, well, it's just me and boom, boom, boom. But which one of your family members do you want to handle any of this stuff? So
yeah. It's definitely a big deal. And I would encourage people too, think about maybe getting a gift card from Travis Law so that you can give that to someone for a birthday or anniversary or a wedding gift, so that we can help them with preparing for what they need as far as a will or power of attorney.
Yeah. So thank you, Joy, for coming on today. Thank you all for watching. I'm trying to do a little more of these segments as this year kind of, progress. So I may do one on life insurance. Come on, that's another good one I need to do.
That'll be good.
Especially I am a life insurance agent. So thank you all for watching. Please check out what'shappenedbirmingham.com for more interviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out the audio version of this on Apple Podcasts. Thank you all again. And happy 2024. But most importantly, let's go and get this will done. You got no excuse.
Yes.
It's free.
Yes.
So Birmingham, let's take advantage of that. Thank you all again. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the What's Happening Birmingham video podcast. Please check out our website, app, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest videos today.